possibility that our intelligence can be connected to the Supreme Lord. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhayeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So far we have reached the 8th chapter. It is almost that we are on the middle part of the Bhagavad Gita. This section is very important section because here Arjuna is inquiring on many philosophical conceptions. Arjuna asked how many questions in the 8th chapter? 8 questions. And Krishna has so far in the first 4 verses, in the first 2 verses, Arjuna inquired 8 questions. And in the next 2 verses, Krishna answered how many questions? 7 he has answered. And the 8th question he is answering from text number 5 till technically 9, although it is flowing in the entire chapter. So last time we discussed the 5th verse, when Krishna is saying, Krishna is emphasizing on which one word. If we say one word which Krishna is emphasizing on this 5th verse that we discussed last time, what is that one word Krishna is emphasizing? What is the most important aspect of attaining Krishna?
Constantly, incessantly.
Yeah, that is there. What one has to do constantly and incessantly? Yeah, smaran. Smaran. The word is smaran. Smaran means to remember. To remember. If we are able, if we practice to remember Krishna when we are in our normal course of life, then what is the possibility that the final moment of our life, we will be able to remember Krishna, not otherwise. That is why Krishna said beautifully, Antakale cha mameva smarnam ukta kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nati astra samsaya. So, okay, what Krishna is saying here, perfect. This is the perfection of human life, that the final moment one is able to remember Krishna. But what if a person is not able to remember Krishna? Then what is the principle? What is the condition? That is the next verse. This is the 6th verse. Today we will discuss Although time is short, but I will try to at least discuss 6 and 7, maybe 8th also. So I will recite, you hear attentively, and then you also try. Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam tajyate anta kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya सदा तद्भाव भाविता यम यम वापि स्मरन् भावम् तज्जते अन्ते कलेवरम् ताम तामेवेति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भाव भाविता. Your turn now. Recite. What? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajyate ante kalevaram tam tame veti kaunteya tada tadbhava bhavita. Very good pronunciation. This is just a matter of little attention and of course little interest. And because we are repeating the Supreme Lord's word, what he gives us? He gives us the intelligence. He gives us the ability. It becomes very easy. Recite. Others? Right?
Yam yam vapi sarambhavam.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajyate ante kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. You would like to try? Darshil, next to you, yeah. Recite.
Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
yajyati ante kalevaram
tajyati ante kalevaram tam tam
tam tam vivati kaunteyo
tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. So in the previous verse, Krishna said that the mameva smarana mukta kalevaram. But here it is not mameva. It is anya. He is remembering something else. So whatever he is, yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam. So with whatever he is remembering at the final moment of his life, and he is quitting his body. Whoever he remembers and he quits his body, tam tam eveti kaunteya. So what is the possibility in the next life? He will get a body suitable to what he was remembering in his childhood. It's very important. What we think, what we meditate, where we get absorbed is very vital. Because whatever we are doing now in our life, that will determine what will be our thought at the time of leaving our body. And whatever will be the thought, according to our thoughts, we will get the future body or the next body. Isliye Krishna is saying that tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So two things are very important. One is smarana, and what is the other thing? What is the other aspect? Bhava. 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 So what kind of bhava we have? Or what kind of mood or meditation we have? It's very important. So whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So this is the principle. And this principle cannot change for anyone at any time in this entire creation. It is for everyone. Whether he accepts or whether he rejects. But the principle remains the same. So let us see the commentary. The process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death is explained here. A person who at the end of his life quits his body thinking of Krishna attains the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. That we discussed in the 5th verse. But it is not true that a person who thinks of something other than Krishna attains the same transcendental state. That is not possible. This is a point we should note very carefully. How can one die in the proper state of mind? So Maharaj Bharat, although a great personality, thought of deer at the end of his life. And so in his next life, he was transferred into the body of a deer. This is a very famous personality called Maharaj Bharat. He was a great king, a very righteous monarch. And he renounced in his final moment, and he was living in a isolation in the forest. But somehow he got attached to the baby deer. And his thoughts were absorbed in thinking about the deer, caring about the deer. And when his last final moment came, because his thought was absorbed in deer, next body he had to receive was of deer. So this principle is applicable everyone, everywhere. Although as a deer, he remembered his past activities, he had to accept that animal body. Of course, one's thought during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thought at the moment of death. This principle is also universal, and there cannot be any change. Not all of a sudden any new thought can pop up at the last phase of life. It's just not possible. You know, Birbal, you have heard? Birbal was very wise, and Akbar had kept Birbal as one of his advisors in his assembly. So this principle that at the end of one's life, whatever thoughts one has is most prominent. So the question was which Birbal asked Arjuna, is till what moment is the person infatuated by lust? You see, in the youth, the lust is very prominent. It torments everyone. So Birbal told till the end of one's life. Till the end of one's life. So Akbar said, I don't agree. When the person becomes old, incapacitated, the senses are weak, at that time, how can the lust trouble? The lust cannot trouble. So, but how to prove it? So, as usual, Birbal took some time. He said that, my dear sir, at the opportune time, at the opportune moment, I will prove it. So after a few days, sir, please come with me. There is one person who is just about to die, an old person who is on his deathbed. He may die any moment. While I was coming, I just received one call also from one Mataji. She is from Hyderabad. Her uncle is there in Noida. She told me that possibility of his survival is very less. So can you please come tomorrow? I said, I cannot promise, but I will see. But I will pray. If he gets better, then there will not be a need. So anyway, so Birbal requested his emperor to come with him, to come and see the old, incapacitated, dying man at the last moment of his life. And Birbal also requested, please bring your princess also along. Don't come alone. Please bring your princess along. So all the three of them, the emperor, the minister, and the princess, they all went to the house of this old man who was just about to die. He was so weak, he was so incapacitated that he was completely bedridden. He could not speak. He could not stand up. He could not even open his eyes. So you have seen an old man, or the eyelids, they close. When one becomes very old, then one has to, hold his eyelid to be able to see. So when the three entered, the family members, they all stood up that the emperor has come today in the house. So they were all, taken by surprise. So Birbal said that we have just come to see the person in his final moment. So the family members informed the dying man that look who has come. The most capable minister, Birbal, has come to see you. So please wake up. There was no response from the dead man. He was not dead, lying on the dead bed. He remained still, as if he did not hear anything. Nothing he heard. Then after a pause, the family members announced that, look now who has come. Emperor himself has come. Now you please wake up. But still there was no response. He remained the same. After a few moments of pause, then the family members announced, see who has come. The princess has come to see. And the old man opened his eye. This is what Birbal said, see my dear sir. So this is the situation of a conditioned soul. Whatever he has been infatuated throughout his life, whatever he has been desiring, or whatever he has been, seeking after, wherever his absorption has been during his lifetime, at the final moment, the same absorption will be there naturally. So we need to be very, very concerned and very careful to where our absorption is. Because according to what we do now, that will determine where our absorption will be at the time of death. And wherever our absorption will be at the time of death, that will determine what will be our future body. What will be our future. It's very important. That is why Srila Prabhupada is writing here. Of course, one's thought during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thought at the moment of death. So this life creates one next life. Many times people complain that why I'm, born in such a abominable situation. Who decides? The question. And no one else decides. You yourself decides. Depending on your actions, depending on your thoughts, depending on your absorption. So it is completely in our hand. We can decide what will be our next life, what will be our next body. So what we have to do? What is the most important thing we have to do? We have to change the absorption. We have to change the absorption. And if we do not do that, then what will change? Body will change. That is called death. When we change the body, it is called death. So it is in our own hands. Whether we want to helplessly die and again go into a helpless condition of birth and remain in the repeated cycle of birth and death. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna that whatever state that one remembers at the time of death, accordingly that state he will attain without fail. If in one's present life, one lives in the mode of goodness, so Prabhupada is recommending what one has to do. First thing what we have to change our influence of mode. From the lower mode, we have to come to the higher mode of goodness. From ignorance and passion, we have to come to Satogun, mode of goodness. Because unless and until we come in the mode of goodness, there is no possibility to remember Krishna. In the mode of passion, what we will remember? What mode of passion breeds? Lust, anger, greed. This will be the natural absorption in the lower modes. Like you have a heavy monsoon season. When you have a heavy monsoon season, can you stop mosquitoes from breeding? Is it possible? You try whatever. It will not stop. So similarly, if we are in the lower moods, the influence of passion and ignorance will not allow us to remember Krishna. Why? Because we'll be absorbed in sense gratification, in sense enjoyment, in trying to think that I am this body and this body and this world is made for my enjoyment. So Prabhupada is mentioning here that one lives in the mode of goodness. And in the mode of goodness, what is important? Most important is to be a disciplined life, to have a regulated life. Regulation can only come in the mode of goodness. In passion, it is always irregular. Few days one will try, but again he will spring back to the same situation. This will help one be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. If one is transcendently absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not material. So we see that watch your thoughts, it becomes your words. Watch your words, it becomes your actions. Watch your actions, it becomes your habit. And what your habit, it becomes your character. And watch your character, it determines your destiny. So from where the change has to begin? Thoughts. From where the thoughts have to come? What is, do we have the same thought? You 5 people, do you have the same thought? What is the basis of one's thought? Huh? Huh? The influence of mood, very good. But if you go deeper, desire, very good, desire, good. The basis of one's thought is based on one's desire. Then may I ask, all of you are students of IARI? Huh? Is all of you having the same desires? No. Even two twins, do they have the same desires? No. All the set of environment is the same, but the desires are different. So what is the basis of desire? If desires are different, that means there is some basis. According to the basis, one gets different desire. So what is that basis of desire? What is the basis of one's desire? This is where we have to really dig deep. That what kind of thoughts do we get? What kinds of desires do we have? Yes, Sanjana?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। सत्संग संग जो होता है वो हमारे डिजायर्स को डिसाइड करते हैं। कैसा हम
Right.
संग कर रहे हैं, जो हम देख रहे हैं, जो हम सुन रहे हैं।
हाँ, that is true. Association also influences our desire. But what is the root of one's desire? सत्संग में जाते हैं तो सत्संग में अच्छा डिजायर होता है ना, लेकिन असत्संग में जाते हैं तो सत्संग का डिजायर होता है। असतो माँ सतगमया। हम ज्यादातर कहाँ रहते हैं? सत में रहते हैं, असत में रहते हैं। तो हमारे डिजायर कैसे होते हैं? सत होते हैं या असत होते हैं?
असत।
So Krishna answers that in the second chapter. Krishna has already answered. Krishna said, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Prajahati is to give up. What? Yada kaman, all the desires. And where are the desires coming from? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Mana means the mind. So whatever conception that we have in the mind, where does the desire emanate from? Mind. So mind is the emanating place, is the source from where the desires are coming. But different people are having different desires. So what is that desire based on? The desire is based on one's conception. What is that conception? Of what we think we are. Now I am thinking that I am the head of a particular organization. So my desires are coming for that organization, isn't it? Do you have the same desire? No. Your desires are what? That now PhD timetable has come, exams are to come, I have to clear ARS. My desires are not to change with them. So what is, so try to understand. So what is the conception that we think we are? Accordingly, we get desires. When the exams are over, what is the desire? Huh? Let me first relax. For 1 week, I will take complete rest. Do not bother me. But if you go deeper, all these conceptions that we have, this is what is this based on? This is based on that what we are thinking, either we are this body or we are the mind. But we are not both. We are neither the body nor the mind. But if we come to this proper conception, this spiritual conception, that we are spirit soul. And the spirit soul has connection with Krishna. And this connection is eternal and every other connection is temporary. Then what will be the desire? To please Krishna, to serve Krishna, and to love Krishna. So what we have to change? What we have to change? We have to change the false conception, the material conceptions. And how to change the conceptions? How to change the conception? Huh? Do you know that? Theoretically, you know that you are not this body. But is the conception changing? Is the thought changing? Is the desire changing? So what we have to do? We have to practice. We have to practice. If you don't practice, nothing will change. It will remain the same. When we practice, the conception goes deeper in the heart. That is why it is important to come in association. Because when we come in association, what we get? What is the biggest gift that we get? We get spiritual conceptions. When we practice, this spiritual conception leaves a deeper impression. Right now, our impressions are what? Material impressions. So unless and until we get a spiritual impression which is more deeper than the material impression, the conception will not change. Conception will not change, desires will not change, thoughts will not change, words will not change, actions will not change, characters will not change, destination will not change. Very important. Krishna is giving us such a, see how deep is Bhagavad Gita and how profound is Bhagavad Gita. That is why Krishna is saying, what you have to change? You have to change your conception. What changed with Arjuna? Does the army on the other side of the Kauravas did change? Did the captains of the Kauravas army change? Did the relationship of Arjuna with the Kauravas change? What changed? One thing changed with Arjuna. What is? Conception. Only conception. What he was considering? That if I fight, even if I win, I will lose. Why? Because I will not be able to enjoy the kingdom. What he was thinking? What was the desire based on? Own enjoyment. And where Krishna, after speaking Bhagavad Gita, he brought him to what level? Duty platform. Duty. Happiness in this world cannot be experienced by material enjoyment. Happiness can only be experienced when one performs one duty. So that conception Arjuna understood. Although Arjuna was elevated to a higher platform, not just to duty, he came to the platform of love, to serve Krishna, to satisfy Krishna, to please Krishna. So nothing changed, but the conception changed. So our purpose of study of Bhagavad Gita is to get spiritual conception. If we get this spiritual conception, then everything else will change. And if we do not get this spiritual conception, nothing changes. You see the dialogue of Bhagavad Gita. There are two types of dialogue. The same Bhagavad Gita was spoken at the external level, where it begins 1.1. Who vacha? Dhritarashtra vacha. Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandava Sheva Bhima Kuruvat Sanjaya. So what is Dhritarashtra asking? Mamaka. So he is asking about his own sons and the sons of the Pandus. And where it ends, 18.78. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruvani Tirma Tirmama. This is Sanjay speaking, the last word. But what happened? Did anything change with Dhritarashtra after hearing Bhagavad Gita? Did he get any benefit? No. He didn't get any benefit. Why? Because he did not accept anything of Bhagavad Gita. So is the potency of Bhagavad Gita not there? It is there, but he did not accept it. He did not apply it. Even after hearing, one time I was speaking, so one student approached me. He said that before an arrow was shot, the entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Sanjay. That Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra. But then why Dhritarashtra did not stop his sons? When he knew that all his sons will die, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why did he allow his sons to fight? So this is what is material attachment. What material attachment does? It gives hope against hope. He was still thinking that maybe the Supreme Personality of Godhead is on the side of Pandavas. But with me, what I have Bhishma, I have Drona, I have Karna. They will win the war. So it's all of us, same situation. We are all like the dedicated followers of Dhritarashtra, as blind, even more profound blindness as Dhritarashtra. We are seeing everyone is dying in this world. Have you seen anyone who has survived? But we are living as if we will never die. Or for me, there will be some special. Are we preparing for the day of death? No. Do we ever think about it? No. As if it will never happen. So here, very important that we must prepare to face the final day of our life. How? By practicing very sincerely or seriously the process of Krishna consciousness. So if we do that, then we can perfect. Then we can be freed from this victimization of chained cycle of repeated birth and death. Then no more birth. Why? Because there is no death. There is no change of body. Because the next body will be spiritual body. Process. Where do you find in which academic institute? Show me. Show me one. Show me that teacher who has this knowledge or who has this experience. You call me any expert who can stop death. Is there anyone in this world? Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how to stop death by becoming spiritual in consciousness. Prabhupada is saying here, if one is transcendently absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not material. No more death. Because the death is only of the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram. For successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life. So what we have to do at the time of chanting, we have to hear. That is also a big challenge for all of us. Because we may chant, but where we struggle is to be able to hear the chanting. We hear something else. What we hear? We hear our mind's proposals. The mind drags us. We may be chanting. the Uchcharan would be there. But what is not there? Huh? Smaran is not there. And Bhava is also not there. Is it there? Both are missing. Neither the Smaran is there, nor the. So what we have to do? Attentive chanting means that we have to think about Krishna. How do we think about Krishna? By hearing the mantra. Absorb our mind to hear. Who has to send? The root of consciousness is not the mind. But the ROUTE, root of consciousness, is the mind. You get the point? It is through the mind that we can go deeper and reach the soul. But if the mind blocks, then we remain outside. So what we have to do? We have to train the mind to hear the mantra. Who has to hear? The mind has to hear. And eventually when the mind starts to hear, you can go deeper, and one day who will hear? The soul will hear. And as soon as the soul hears, it will awaken. That is the practice. That is why we have to practice our entire life. Why? To come to that day when we become awakened. How we become awakened? By hearing the mantra. We have to practice. We have to pray to Krishna. And please, you control my mind. You make me hear the mantra. Yato yato nischalati manaschachalam asthiram tato tato niyamametan atmani esham vasham niyet. So what we have to do? This is the nature of the mind. What is there? To distract us, to degrade us, to distort us. What we have to do? We have to again and again pull back the mind. The mind will never say, please chant. Mind will say, there is no need to chant. Why chant? Hear my chanting. I have my chanting. You must hear that. Why you want to hear Hare Krishna chant? And why you making me hear Hare Krishna chant? But we have to purify the impure mind by making him hear. So Krishna is giving the verdict. I'll take the next verse also. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mame tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhya cha mayi arpit manobuddhe mame vashyasi asamshaya. Quickly, those who did not recite, your turn. Bolo.
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
मामनुस्मरयुध्य च
mamanusmara yudhya cha
मयि
mayi
अर्पिता मनोबुद्धिर्
arpita manobuddhir mam evashyasi asamshaya. So Krishna is saying tasmat. Tasmat means therefore, conclusion. So what is the conclusion? What was the recommendation? That smaranam and bhavam. Yeah. So how to have the perfect remembrance in the perfect mood at the time of death? So how to come to that stage? How to attain that perfection? So Krishna is giving the conclusion that tasmat sarveshu means at all times. And kaleshu, sarveshu, kaleshu, for all and at all times. What one has to do? Mama nusmara. Again and again, whom we have to remember? We have to remember Krishna. And what Arjuna is supposed to do? Yuddha cha. Arjuna is supposed to do yuddha cha. What do you have to do? Vidyam cha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara vidyam cha. Why you are studying? You are studying not just to get some degree or get some post or get some position or to get some money. The purpose is to preach Krishna consciousness. And now it is becoming so rampant. I don't know what is happening with IARI, but now 2 days later I'll be going to one institute. You must be knowing one college called Kamla Nehru. From their philosophy department, they called me through a devotee who's preaching there, and they want to know on the consciousness of Bhagavad Gita, what consciousness Bhagavad Gita gives. This is their annual day, so they were invited. People are very much awaking now. Why? Because after having so much of material success, material comforts, what they are really fed up. There is no joy in the heart. Now they are thinking that what is on the other side. So what is the purpose of Vidya? Is to spread the Vidya of Bhagavad Gita, which is Raj Vidya. The purpose of you all studying is not just what others are doing. What is the agenda, motivation for others? Is roti, kapda and makan. They will remain there. Their consciousness does not evolve. But the purpose of those who are devotees is to do any activity, is to please and propagate the glories of the Lord. So, Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. So Krishna is not saying, oh, Arjuna, you leave aside the battle, you take the chanting beats, go into the forest and just chant Hare Krishna. He said, no. Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. What we have to do? We have to perform our occupational duties. I have discussed that there are two types of duty. One is the occupational duties, or which is called the bodily dharma. Because we are in the bodily condition of life, we cannot artificially renounce. What we have to do? We have to do our duties while we are in this world. You are in student life. What is your duty? Study. You are in householder life, life. What is your duty? Earning. You must earn. I am in the renounced life. What is my duty? To preach. If I don't preach, and if you don't study, and if it does not earn, then we are not doing our dharma. It is a sinful act. Not performing one's dharma is sin. One will have to suffer. So Arjuna is a Kshatriya. What is this duty? To protect. And to protection, what he has to do? He has to fight. So Krishna is not saying that you give up the fighting, I'll fight for you. No. This is what is the misconception people have. They don't have any understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna recommends everyone to perform his duty very diligently, with detachment. But at the same time, what he is saying? Ma Manusmara. So how that Anusmara will come? That he is giving here. Very beautiful. How the Anusmara will come? When Mayo Arpit Manobuddhi. If we are able to invest or absorb our mind and intelligence in Krishna, then only Krishna's remembrance will come. Where is our mind attached? Where is our mind? Yeah, where I can get sense gratification or sense enjoyment. And where is our intelligence absorbed? Where I can get the resources to enjoy my mind's desire. Normally, a family man, his mind is where? Where his family is. And where is his intelligence? Where money is. Right or wrong? This is the entire world is doing. Mind is invested in family relations and intelligence in investment in trying to multiply the resources. So how there is possibility of smaran of Krishna? How there is possibility of bhava of Krishna? They say mano arpit, mai arpit mano buddhi. Krishna is not asking anything else from us. What he is asking? He is asking only two things from us. What are those things? You give your mind to me and you invest your intelligence in it. How we can engage the mind in Krishna? By chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. By attentively hearing the chant. Making the mind here. So what we are doing, this is what we say, Mai Arpit Mana. Mind will say, don't chant. But if we hear to mind, then what we are doing, we are thinking that the mind is more important than Krishna. This is the mistake that we do. And second is saying, Mano, Mai Arpit Mana, by chanting, and Buddhi. How do we invest our Buddhi in Krishna? By studying Bhagavad Gita. We will see in the conclusion, Krishna will speak how one can worship Krishna by intelligence, one who is studying Bhagavad Gita. So we don't use our intelligence. What do we use? We use Krishna's divine intelligence. How? Which is coming in the form of instructions in Bhagavad Gita. So if we connect with Krishna's intelligence, with Krishna's instruction, then we are investing our intelligence in Krishna. And if you do that, then what is the result? Mam evashyasi asamshaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry your prescribed duty of fighting. Arjuna is for fighting, a student is for studying, a professional is for working, whatever may be the work, according to his social status and order. Different people have different occupations. The Bhagavad Gita does not teach us to give up one's occupation. This is what Arjuna was trying, that I will not fight. What you will do? I will go in the forest and back. Krishna says nonsense. This is all utter nonsense. Sometimes some students come to us and they say, Prabhu ji, अपने साथ रख लीजिए. Okay, why? बोले अब पढ़ने में मन नहीं लगता है. मैंने कहा मंदिर में आके क्या करोगे? मंदिर में आके उत्पात करोगे, क्योंकि 2 दिन बाद बोलोगे यहाँ भी मन नहीं लगता है, सेवा में मन नहीं लगता है. Why you are depending? A person who is on a mental platform, what he will do? He will only create havoc. What we have to do? We have to purify the mind. Whatever is painful to the mind, we must make the mind do that. Most painful thing for the mind is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Only to the extent when the mind is impure. To the extent one is finding it difficult to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is itself an evidence that the mind is impure. Pure mind will happily chant. As we are coming to the process of purification, it will be automatic. To the extent we are impure, our heart is infatuated by lusty desire, it will be very difficult. But how do we clean ourselves? How do we purify ourselves? By accepting the process and not giving up. So if we do that, with all your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. This is the second way. First was, ant kale cha mameva smarna muktva malevra ya prayati sa madbhavam nati asti atra samsaya. That was at the time of death. One is fully absorbed in Krishna. But how to be fully absorbed in Krishna? Now Krishna is giving the process here in this 7th verse. That you invest your mind and intelligence in me. This is the difference between a devotee and non-devotee. A devotee's mind and intelligence is invested in Krishna, not in the worldly people. How do we know? That he abides and applies Krishna's instruction. He does not care for what the world says. Because where the world will go? They will go to yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam. Tajyante andkalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tad bhava. The instructions to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. See, Prabhupada is so practical. The instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One should continue them, at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This is investing our mind by chanting. And how do we make the mind chant? Wake up early. What is the purpose of waking up early? Is just one point to agenda, is to chant Hare Krishna. Those who cannot wake up early, they cannot chant Hare Krishna. They may say whatever. Not possible. This will free one from material contamination. The same thing. Material contamination is what? Impure. And engage the mind and intelligence by Krishna. By chanting Krishna name, one will be transferred to the supreme planet, Krishnalok, without a doubt. So today, very importantly, what we discussed is that if we do not engage our mind and intelligence in Krishna, then where the mind and intelligence will be? It will be in material aspects. And if we remain in the material aspects, then our next body will also be So how to make this shift from material to spiritual is while being engaged in our occupational duty. How to do that? By following the instructions given and chanting Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, some doubts, so please ask. Took 1 hour class, exactly 1 hour. Yes. Well, see, try to understand. When you grow up, when you are growing up, when you was playing with toys. But do you play with toy now? Have you become detached from toys? Is it true? Have you become detached from toys? Why? Because you have attached to another toy. What is that toy? That toy is there in your pocket. Isn't it? You look at this toy, it is more attractive than the other toy. You get the point? See, the nature of the soul is attachment. Because it has emotion. Isn't it? What is the difference between me and a machine? Machine So what we have to do? We have to become sincere. And Krishna is there to help us. Krishna's devotees are there to help us. But the problem is, we value our own thoughts, we value our own conceptions more superior than theirs. Then we will not be able to take the change. Then the change will never come. And we remain. If you go to the doctor and he gives you a prescription and he tells you what to do and what not to do, and you say, I know better, then what can the doctor do? He say, you do whatever you like and then suffer. Remain in good association is the most important thing. Every day morning you people are coming and chanting here? No? Then how it will change? It is not that you don't have time. It is only the problem that we are not able to give priority to time. I told you, no one in my so many years, I have recommended everyone to make a timetable of 24 hours. Till date, I have not found even one soul who has done that. Why? Because they don't want to see. They don't want to open their eyes where they stand. How can there be complaint? Everyone gets 24 hours intact. Does anyone get less? But like Dhritarashtra was not accepting to see, so we are not also accepting. And we are complaining we don't have time. You make your schedule for 1 week and show me, I'll show how much time we are wasting. Entire life goes just waste. In eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. This is what we are doing, life after life. And not seeking the reality, not accepting. Must come every day. This is the facility given here. If you don't do it now, next life you will not get the opportunity, because when you got the opportunity, you kicked it. Why will Krishna bestow again? You must come. Every day at 8 o'clock, you should all come here. 8 o'clock is late. It should be 6. But what to do? Begin from somewhere. Rather than remaining nowhere, you come and chant every day in the morning here. No, room is a place of tamogun. The hostel is completely surcharged with tamogun. This place is satogun. Every day we are worshipping Radha Parsati, we are serving Radha Parsati. What is the attachment for room? I could give you a class from Zoom also. Why do I come here? See how so many of them are watching from so many distant places. You can also watch, but association makes a difference. This is satsang. Durlava manav janama satsange tarahu re bhavasindhu. If we don't believe in our acharyas, if we don't believe in scriptures, if we don't believe in sadhu, then whom do we believe in? Where is our belief system? In our own mind and intelligence. Krishna is saying, give up that nonsense. You rascal, give up your ideas of your mind and intelligence. But we are very stubborn. We are not agreeing. You have seen the power of being in association. You were there in Mayapur. Why I took you everyone? I took everyone to do chanting where? Where we were chanting? Prabhupada's Samadhi. Not anywhere else. Because that is a surcharged place. So I am staying in Srivasanga. Why is the need for me to go anywhere else? Mahaprabhu is coming here every night and chanting. Why should I go out? Because that is instructed by my spiritual master. That is instructed by Srila Prabhupada. So if we do that, we get their mercy, we get the empowerment. This is very important. Today, Krishna is saying, Mayo arpit manobuddhi. Don't apply your mind and intelligence. Where the mind and intelligence is to be applied, to follow what is being said. Then you progress, then you succeed. Why the preaching is so low here? Because no one is able to follow. Hardly anyone gives priority to follow. They have their own agendas, which is more important. They themselves also don't progress. They remain there where they are. And after a few years, when they leave out, they are again in bewilderment. They have not got the spiritual conception. The impregnation has never happened. The seed has not fructified. So how flower then fruits will come? It will never come. It has remained above the surface. It has never gone into the earth to germinate. It is required. Time is less, time is short. Whoever is fortunate will accept it. Otherwise, they will continue wandering in this world. From one body to another body, from one life to another life, from one relationship to another relationship. By the time they will be realizing some part of it, life will be over. We should learn from others' experience. No? Are we not saying whoever has taken birth has died here? But do we ever think about it? We never think about it. No one thinks. This is the biggest curtain of illusion which is there in front of our eyes. We can't see the reality. Can't see, we don't accept, and we don't change also. We must change. We must make a note. We should take every day, write at least one spiritual conception that I have accepted in life, and I will practice it. Do that. Make a separate copy based on your hearing, discussion. What is the spiritual conception that I picked up? What is the spiritual conception that we picked up today? How Smaran and Bhav will come? By offering one's mind and intelligence. Smaran and Bhav will not come automatically. To the extent we are surrendering our mind and intelligence. This is the process of surrender. What does surrender means? That my idea, my intelligence, my mind is not valuable. What you say is more valuable. This is what Arjuna will say. In the first, second chapter, he is refusing. He's saying, how can I be more happy? By killing my kinsman? Kim nu rajena govinda? Kim bhogena jivatena va? Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan? What nonsense you are proposing? How can I be happy by killing my grandfather and my teacher? But later what he will say? Sarva meta jitan manne janma vadasi keshava. That whatever you say, I accept as true. That means I will do it. It will not happen in one day, but you have to come, you have to practice sincerely. Give it value, give it importance. To the extent you give importance, to that extent, the spiritual part will manifest. It will start to blossom. Otherwise, it will remain in a closed form. It depends, and everything depends on us.
Just believe in the research paper, some previous one,
Yeah.
previous or
Some.
others
Yeah.
scientists will do, but they will not trust and believe in Bhagavad Gita, which
True, but let us do one thing. See, instead of trying to change them, let us first change ourselves. If we change ourselves, then we can become a component to change them. But the problem with us is we are thinking that they will change without me being changed. Nothing will change. Neither they will change nor I will change. Everything remains the same. You are a young Christian monk. When he joined the monastery at 20, he wanted to change the world. When he became 30, he realized that he cannot change the world. Then he thought, let me change my city. When he became 40, he realized he cannot change the city. Then he thought, when he became 50, he thought, I cannot change the city, let me change my church. At 60, he realized he cannot change the church. And he realized, let me change myself. If we do not, this is what the conception has to go deep. We change. The problem with us, we don't want to live our own life. What we want living, we are living an artificial life. Of what the others are thinking about me. Of what they will perceive about me. Who cares about you whether you live or die? Does anyone care about you? No one cares. It is only a foolishness. So why we should allow our life to go waste? Based on their opinion. Opinion of Krishna should be the foremost. This is Arjuna's opinion. What is the difference between Arjuna and Duryodhana? What is the difference? Duryodhana always thought that his opinion is better than Krishna's opinion. But Arjuna always thought that Krishna's opinion is better than his own opinion. That is the difference between a devotee and a demoniac person. We want to be devotee also, but we want to keep the decision making to ourselves also. How can both be there? Devotee with a demoniac bhava. And then we say we want to have smaran also. How it is possible? Not possible. It's very important. I am very enlightened today. Last class also, today I have got this understanding. What Krishna is asking, how that bhava and smaran will come to the extent we invest our mind and energy. This is the most difficult. You can climb Himalaya. You can go down to the fathom of the bottom of the sea. But to give up our mind and intelligence, so Baba, this is most this is most difficult. This is where surrender is. This is where love and trust is. And we don't care for our own decision. Ravinder Prabhu is hearing. Ravinder Prabhu, you're hearing? Krishna is saying, don't believe in your own intelligence and mind. Just invest. Krishna says, Maya arpit manobhuti. You offer your mind and intelligence to me. What it means? Offer your mind and intelligence. Krishna will eat. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Bhaktya prachitadam bhakti upatam ashnami priyatatmanam. Patram pushpam is offering because he will eat. Mind and intelligence, why he is asking? He cannot eat. But what he will do? Through our mind and intelligence, he will preach. Through our mind and intelligence, he will preach. Krishna will speak in the 11th verse. Nimit matra. Become my instrument. Who will become Krishna's instrument? One who is offering his mind and intelligence to Krishna. This is what Prabhupada offered. He offered his heart to Krishna. And Krishna, through Prabhupada, he preached Krishna consciousness all over the world. Okay, it is getting late. I have to go. You all also have to go. But this is the sweetness of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, see how again and again he is saying, don't believe in your own mind and intelligence. If we connect our mind and intelligence to Krishna, the Krishna will utilize it in a more spiritual and divine way. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.